this couple decides to go on a road trip, and to cut costs, they want to do a ride share to get to California, and they recruit these two characters, Juliette Lewis and Brad Pitt, and they're not very savory characters, to put it lightly, especially him. And well, I mean, talk about being penny wise and pound foolish, right? Like the stuff that they have to go through. It's just mind boggling how you could be in a situation like that. I really liked the Carrie character, the Michelle Forbes character. She essentially is the girl with the dark black hair, and she plays the bitch, and she's smart. She knows something is up, and the David Duchovny's character Brian is like, oh no, be relaxed, these people are cool, and Carrie's like, yeah, this is a problem. And what I really liked about Michelle Forbes, her portrayal of Carrie, is that she could have really been over the top. Like there's a scene in which they're at this diner, and they're eating, and he takes off his shoe, and he has this sock that's all ripped and tattered, and you can tell that it hadn't been changed in like what looked like years. And she's at the diner, and she sees this while she's eating, and she could have been really over the top about it, but you see it, and she just had a certain subtlety that I really think was respectable, because we're all with her, a lot of us, in terms of what she's thinking. She's like our touchstone here, and she could have been completely ridiculous and over the top, and she was just really, really subtle and dimensional, because there is this parental thing that goes on, I think, psychologically, in which, the Brad Pitt character early, he protects David Duchovny's character, Brian, in the bar. And then there's that scene with Carrie and the Juliette Lewis character, Adele, and she's like taking care of her and she's protective. So I thought it was a very fascinating flick, and it left me unsettled, even though it was a nice ending. What did you guys think of it?
I loved this movie in its day. I saw it probably at least twice at the theater, maybe 3 times. Upon revisit, I can't say I got into it as much. And I wonder if, like, 2 years after the 7 came out, and I think 7 kind of reset the level of comparison. So I think I sort of forgot about this movie at that point, but I loved it when it came out. Trying to revisit it, I was a little bored. But it's hard to judge a movie, but I think it's a good choice. I like how Juliette Lewis and Brad Pitt speak. He speaks to her as from the perspective of like George in Of Mice and Men to Lenny. She's like, tell me about California. And he's like, well, it's like this. It's just like Mice and Men to me.
Good point.
But yeah, it's fun. It's a good time.
I liked it a lot more when I first saw it in the 90s on video, I have to admit. But it's got that, it's the most 90s look 90s to ever 90s. I mean, it's Dominique Sena. He knows how to shoot. He was a music video guy. There are some gorgeous shots in the movie. And I love that opening, that like twist, that weird opening where you think that the woman's getting in the car and that's the menace, but yeah, I love that. And he throws the rock and kills them. But yeah, I figured one thing that would really improve this movie is get rid of that voiceover.
Really?
Yeah. I think that voiceover is not doing anything for the movie, and I think it's telling us everything that we could be figuring out. I think we'd be more engaged if we didn't hear that voiceover.
I wonder if they had to add it later on, like after
because audiences were like, I don't know motivation and what's going on. Yeah. And then there's a direct line in the movie where Duchovny says, like, I don't like to. I as a writer, I can't use cliches or something like that. And it's like the Brad Pitt character is pretty cliche-y.
I was thinking like and not to get political, but I think he's how us in blue states see MAGA people.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was very, like, I did notice at this time, very prescient. He's like into conspiracy theories. He's got like the Brad Pitt character. He's like, yeah, they're flying people to the moon all the time. And breakfast is actually, that is true though. Breakfast was created by like like the most important meal of the day, that whole thing, it was brought on by like food companies to sell more cereal and stuff like that.